Jennifer talking about how she, like, fingers her husband's butthole. Danielle has more personality in her freaking pinky finger than you will ever have. I think we need to see more of Danielle's husband because he's just so hot. Like, Be like, why are you wearing my dad's PJs? Like, that's fucking weird. Can pull me from the dark.
Hi everyone, my name is Christine, and today I want to talk to you about Real Housewives of New Jersey, episode 7? 8? I'm not sure. This week's episode, they were at the Jersey Shore. Teresa complained about Melissa not inviting her to stay at her shore house, and really I think it was probably a good idea. I don't think it would have been an enjoyable stay if they had done so. And she did throw a little shade in her interview talking about how Melissa and Joe have basically never invited them to their shore house, that at one point Gia asked for her to stay there and Melissa told her no, which I saw later on social media that I guess Gia wanted to stay there while Melissa was not there and Gia was underage. And I mean, what do people do on the Jersey Shore? They drink and party and whatnot. So I think Melissa didn't want to have that liability. So I understand, obviously, in context, it makes sense. And Teresa didn't provide that context, so it is what it is. It was really funny that Rachel is telling Margaret, and Jackie's there. Again, I don't know why Jackie's there, but she's telling them how Teresa warned her about Margaret and is saying, you know, I'd rather have her as a friend than an enemy. Like, you know, just watch your back and blah, blah, blah. And Margaret's getting all upset. She's like, why is she telling you that? If we are made up, then why does she feel she needs to warn other people about me? And the truth is that that's the truth. Margaret is not someone that you want to have as your enemy. As a matter of fact, I saw a clip that's been going around on social media where I can't remember what season it was, but it's Dolores and Jackie, and they're speaking about Margaret. It's when they went ziplining. I can't remember on what trip, but and they talk about how you, again, just don't want Margaret on your bad side. Like, it won't go well for you. So even Jackie agrees to that statement, and conveniently in the moment on that scene, you know, she doesn't speak up. She doesn't say anything. She goes along with it. And so then Margaret feels the need to approach Teresa and ask her, hey, why are you saying these things about me? And at first Teresa's like kind of caught off guard. And then she, instead of like coming at Margaret, she goes to Rachel and she's like, are you trying to start shit between me and Margaret? Like, what? I don't understand. And it's like, yeah, Rachel is very good at like stirring the pot. She's been doing that. She's done that in every episode at this point, I feel like, where she's like, so-and-so saying this about so-and-so. I mean, she did it with Jennifer Aiden. She's doing it with Teresa. So again, that's kind of why I'm still iffy about her. Like, she doesn't really have her own storyline. She's just stirring the pot. And I guess that's what housewives do. But, like, she's not solidifying herself the way I feel like she needs to. I was also a little disappointed. I mean, Danielle's my girl. You guys already know that. But I wanted her to, like, really get into Jackie's face. The way they did the previews where she's like, you got a problem? Like, come talk to me. I thought she was saying that to Jackie's face, but she didn't. She got really pissed off. She pulled her husband aside and she's like, I keep hearing my name being brought up in these conversations, but these women aren't talking to me to my face. And she's trying to cool herself off. And then Melissa comes over and is talking, you know, what's going on? Asks her what's going on. And she tells her, she's like, I'm hearing people talking about me and I don't understand why. And Melissa tells her, you know, we are talking about how we just don't think that what you're saying about what went down between you and your brother, that you're not saying the whole story, that there's got to be something else, other things that have happened that led to that dissolvement of that relationship. And Danielle gets pissed. She's like, you know, I'm confiding in you guys. I'm telling you my side of the story. And Melissa and Danielle, they were shopping at one point in previous episodes. And Melissa asks her the same thing, and Danielle tells her, she's like, well, there was this other thing where I guess she had texted her brother's wife and was upset about something, and expressed that to her, and the wife obviously didn't like it. And at that point, that's when her brother then told her, you're out of the wedding, like, you know, I'm done talking to you, like, cuts her off, kind of a thing. So I can see that being why they're not, you know, they don't get along, why they had like a wedge between them. The wife, you know, I kind of agree, whereas if the wife is like, hey, have you called your sister? Do you talk to your sister? Have you checked in on her? It's your sister's birthday today. It's your nephew's birthday today. If she tries to help that mend that relationship, it would probably be able to be mended and they would probably be able to come back together. But if you have your wife that's like in your ear, like, oh, your sister's a fucking bitch, I can't believe she said this about me, it's our wedding, it's my day, it's not her day, because Danielle said that they had told her, like, it's not all about you, Danielle, and obviously she's very extra. I mean, it's very night and day, you know, and I think that's your job, being a part of someone else's family, to kind of be that devil's advocate. And if you don't have that, that's when things break down. I know Melissa likes to say, like, I was doing that for Joe. I would constantly try to, you know, help them mend that relationship. But I don't think she did. She did on the outside, but she didn't really mean it. Like, she's always been jealous of Teresa. They've always been jealous of each other. They are a lot alike. And so I feel like there's always this, like, underlying competition between the two of them for, you know, Joe's affection, for just being the most Jersey-licious of between the two. Like, you know, there's just always an underlying tension between them, and it's never going to be good. It's never going to get better. And they both are at fault. All three of them are at fault, honestly. And I mean, rest in peace, their parents are also at fault, because I think they even talk about how Teresa's dad didn't speak to his cousins, or like his brothers or whatever, which would be Teresa's cousins, and they didn't grow up talking. Her and Kathy Wakili, whatever her last name was, they didn't talk for a very long time. So they let these family rifts happen and continue for years, and that's just, I mean, I'll tell you one thing, as Mexicans, we don't do that. I mean, I guess my family, we don't do that. Maybe other Mexicans do, but I will tell you that my mom would never let that happen at all. Jennifer Aiden and her husband, man, they were having a good time. They kind of are embarrassing though. Like, I can't imagine their children watching this. Like, Bill, like, kind of crawling on the ground with his cigar in his hand, and then Jennifer talking about how she, like, fingers her husband's butthole. Like, it's gross. It's gross. I'm on that, like, you know, maybe it's TMI, especially on camera. Like, maybe if it was just your friend group and that's how you talk, okay, but it's not being, like, broadcasted to national television. Like, you know, I would keep things just between me and my friend group, not for the whole world to hear and picture. It's pretty gross. Then you have Dolores and Frank talking. Frank tells her how he's, you know, upset that him and Polly can never be at the same place at the same time. And I touched on this last time, but again, I think that, you know, Frank just has to deal with it. I mean, Dolores says it herself, like, you have a hot blonde with you at the Jersey Shore. Like, I don't think you're in that much of distress. Like, just deal with it. It'll happen when it happens. I can't force him to do anything. And which, I mean, I was just saying this, maybe she could be a little bit like, hey, you know, this is the father of my children. Of course, we haven't been romantic in a very, very long time, and he was an asshole when he was with me, but, you know, why can't we all hang out? Why can't we go on a double date? Or not even a double date, but, like, why can't we just all be at the same place, same time? I guess Polly was, you know, still recovering from his surgery, so that makes sense as to why he wouldn't want to go. But hopefully they can figure it out. I mean, because even Frank was like, figure it out. You know, please talk to him and fix it. I think that's what he says. Fix it. And Dolores, like, walks away. She's pissed because she's like, I don't want to talk about this anymore. Like, it's not my problem, essentially. But I think they will. I think they're going to figure it out. And if they don't, you know, it is what it is. Because, again, Dolores deserves this kind of relationship. She hasn't really ever had that, from my knowledge. And Jackie, once again in this episode, why is she here? Why do I have to deal with her presence? She's so annoying. The fact that she calls my girl Danielle a discount Snooki or a dollar store Snooki, whatever the fuck her one-liner was supposed to be. The nerve. Danielle has more personality in her freaking pinky finger than you will ever have. Like, you're just trying so hard, and it's just like, over it. Go away. Rachel Fuda's husband, I can't remember his name, but the chest waxing was gross, first of all. Pretty hilarious. When they put it over his nipple, oh my god, that's like, obviously he was super drunk for him to not, like, because that shit fucking hurts. Their group of guy friends, I do. I think they're the only franchise that the husbands get paid. And they do well together. They play well together. They're funny. It's very much a comic relief for the series, for the franchise, and they deserve that paycheck. And they all do get along really well. My question was, like, why were they having to initiate Rachel Fuda's husband and not Danielle's husband? Like, I didn't understand that. Oh, maybe because he was talking shit, like, in the last guys' night, he brought them, like, Depends and stuff like that, so maybe that's why. But I think we need to see more of Danielle's husband because he's just so hot. Like, We'll see how things go down next week. Apparently, Melissa and Joe and Louis and Teresa sit down and try to have a heart-to-heart, and of course it goes terribly wrong. And Louis talks about how he sleeps in Teresa's father's PJs to comfort her and her daughters, which is like so weird. But on social media, Teresa says that they were brand new PJs. Like, her dad never actually wore them. They were new and they were for him, but he never got to wear them. So she was like, here, babe, like, these are new, do you want them, kind of thing. So that's why he wears those PJs. But the way it's edited and the way he says it, it's really weird. It's like, what are you talking about? It's kind of like creepy. Like, I don't know. That wouldn't comfort me. I'd be like, why are you wearing my dad's PJs? Like, that's fucking weird. I saw Kim D and David from Behind the Velvet Rope talking this week, and Kim mentions that she hears through the grapevine that Melissa and Joe are not getting a contract renewal for next season. So that would be pretty major. I don't think they are. I think she's like floundering right now, trying to, save her ass. And supposedly that's why they're working on their house, because if they're fired, they're not going to have income to be able to afford that house. So they're going to have to sell it. And so, they're going to have to make it more appealing to a wider range of buyers. I didn't see the full after show, but apparently Melissa talks about how everyone gets work done on themselves after they see themselves on camera that first season. So she's talking about all these people, and then she talks about how Teresa got her forehead, like, I don't know what you do. I guess she got it extended, which makes sense, because if you go back to like season 1 and 2 and you see Teresa's forehead, it's different, and it's a very small forehead. So I guess she maybe pushed her hairline back or something. I don't know. But people were upset with Melissa for calling Teresa out, and why is that her business? I mean, she admits to having a nose job herself, where I remember a few seasons ago she says she'd never had a nose job. So now she's come clean with it, which, it is what it is. Like, you wanted to change something about yourself. Why is that a bad thing? It's your face, it's your body, like, you have the money, And I think that's it. That's kind of what stood out to me this week. Thank you so much for hanging out with me, and I hope to see you next time. Bye. Can pull me from the dark.